It's Alex, and today I'm here at Harvey's shop. Now, you guys remember Harvey. He was the guy that pretty much did all the work to my Fairmont when it comes to suspension stuff. He ended up putting all the UPR suspension in it with the battle boxes or the torque box reinforcements and everything. And I came by his shop, and it's been a while. I haven't visited him in a long time. And Harvey's one of these guys that used to work at Power by the Hour, started his own fab shop. And my God, in terms of fab, he has gotten a ton of work. The word has gotten out that, you know, he's out there making things lay frame and all that stuff. So I just wanted to show you real quick what's going on in the shop, because I think some real cool things happen. Let's start with this thing. This is like a barbershop promotional truck. A guy that owns a barbershop said, hey, get me this truck to lay frame, and Harvey got right to work. Check this shit out. So these are, according to Harvey, 22-inch transport wheels that end up like in Escalades. Basically, they transport the wheel, they transport the truck with these wheels on it, and then they put the permanent 22-inch baller ass wheels on it. And these are literally up for sale. 22-inch, like, I don't know what they call them. What kind of wheel is this? Like, in terms of, what do you call these type of wheel, Harvey? What do you call that type of wheel? You called it a certain type of wheel, but it was something else, like smoothie, exactly, a smoothie wheel, exactly. So he ended up with a smoothie wheel, budget smoothie wheel, and this is all the work that Harvey does here to make this thing lay frame. I'll ask him to air it up later. I know you guys are gonna be, what, Alex, don't you hate airbags? No, I hate airbags in Mustangs. I don't hate airbags in things like this. I think this is real cool what Harvey does here. Notches the frame, makes it go real low, and you get this guy. Once it's all said and done, it'll be basically, you know, a promotional piece for a barbershop where he has a little chair in the back, goes to Cars and Coffee, promotes, lays frame, has a modern engine in it, and then he can just go party and have some fun. The other thing he's been doing is working on this baller F100. This is 64 F100 with 24s. So 64 on 4G Auto 24s. It's gonna have a coyote swap. You're probably asking, why are you showing me this? Well, it's gonna have a coyote swap, and he's gonna have a cantilever style suspension with airbags. He's done all this fab work, and it's gonna lay frame pretty much like this, as you see it. I mean, way up in there. Look at that. So that's what it's gonna look like when you go to Cars and Coffee and stunt on people. That's what it's gonna end up looking like. He ended up doing all of this from scratch. Notched it, smoothed it, plated it, everything. Real cool. I'm kind of real happy to see kind of Harvey doing shit he likes. So why am I here, right? Well, I'm here because I needed something welded on my gas tank, and he just did it immediately. And he says, hey, say how much you want for it? He goes, nothing, just make a little video for me and we should be good to go. In case you wanted to know where to find him and who he is. Very cool. Okay, it's the next day, and after leaving Harvey's shop, after he welded the tank for me, and I'll show you how I went ahead and mounted that. Sorry about the mess, but this Fairmont is literally a parts bin right now. So basically, because the Fairmont has a huge tire tub area, that's the control pack, by the way, all the wiring that I'm gonna need to make sure the thing's happy. Oh, so basically what I had to do is I had to cut out the oh, it's wet. Great, awesome, it's wet. It's gonna get rusty, who cares? So I had to cut out the complete bottom of it because it had a huge spare tire well in it. So what I did is I bought a plate, bolted it down, I still have to finish the top, bolted the sides, and there's the tank. The tank is gonna stick up a little bit, but what I did was I also installed this Rhodes cap, because before, that's what Harvey welded, you know, it would come in from here, but the angle wasn't working properly. So basically cut a hole in this guy, did that, had Harvey weld that because I am no welder, and I'll show you what kind of tank this is. This is a, I think it's called, I forget the actual name of the tank. Let me see. It's like a behind bars race cars or something like that. Here we go. So that's what it looks like underneath the car. I got to fill some gaps and everything, but that basically is the fuel pump. That big sucker on the bottom, that is the fuel pump, and it has, if I'm not mistaken, dash 12 coming out of it. Right, it has dash 12 coming out of it, so I got to go dash 12 to dash 8, but that's what it looks like. Okay, that's kind of all what's happening. That's what, you know, ended up being the fuel system for the For the Fairmont, just got to tidy it up, insulate it well, and make it look kosher, and make sure the straps are nice and tight. But yeah, and there's the rear end setup. It's a 8.8 out of an SN length, and it's got awesome braided lines, strange adjustables, UPR goodies. So, you know, just wanted to give you kind of on the quick side update of the Fairmont, because a lot of you guys asked for updates and what's been going on. A lot of people think I'm not working on it. Remember, guys, I have a full-time job, so I can only work on this car when I'm not tuning your flex fuel tunes or your cam loped idle tunes. So hopefully this is enough of an update. Shit, I want to make sure I don't shut the... There you go, still got the right keys. So I want to give you a quick update as to what ended up happening, what's going on with the Fairmont. It's still in process. Tomorrow I'm going to come in early, finish installing the headers, the steering shaft, measure the drive shaft, install a pinion flange, all a bunch of goodies. So make sure to look for that in another video, but still updating as I go along, because I'm hoping to have this running on the sooner side. So we'll see if we can get it done, because it's been long enough. And Edelbrock, I'm sure, is getting antsy, going, where the fuck's my car? Why aren't you racing it? So sorry, Edelbrock, I have a full-time job, but I'll get it done. Hopefully you guys appreciate the update. Talk to you later. Hey guys, today I want to talk about a little bit, oh Jesus Christ, I can't even talk. Hey guys, today I want to talk a little bit about my 2015 Mustang. Now, this car has been through many different iterations since I've had it. I bought it with basically an already supercharged built engine. It ended up going as quick as 9.1 at 153, and I decided to put that drivetrain in the Fairmont. But after putting this car back together, I had a couple of opportunities pop up. First of all, I got a Gen 2 Coyote engine for a very good price from Jake Long over at Power by the Hour. I also got a Gen 2 transmission from LKQ for a very good price also. Put it all together, and when I was up at Lund Racing, John Lund Sr. says, hey Alex, I got a GT350 throttle body, GT350 intake manifold, and an 18 manifold, which we ended up putting on Frank's car. And he said, do you want them? I'll give them to you dirt cheap. I said, absolutely. So after I put it all together, put it on the dyno, it made 390 rear wheel horsepower on this setup, 394 to be exact. That's stout for an automatic car with a factory 2018 cold air. Remember what I was talking about in my previous video, talking about cold airs and which ones are the best or which one's better? Well, I found that a 2018 cold air fits directly into a 2015 engine bay with a couple of modifications. Obviously, there's a couple of things you got to plug, a couple of things that aren't necessary. So you can tell some of the wiring's a little on the tight side. But at the end of the day, this is a car with a GT350 intake manifold, E85 fuel system. It does have FIC 1000. You can see a little bit of a blue down there. And it still does have a return style fuel system from Ford Innovations. Has a, you know, basically what I did was I set the fuel pressure to 55 psi, no reference because there's no boost going to this car. So I was ready to sell it. So the car had a slight mishap, none of my fault, and it needed a couple of little things touched up on the bodywork. So when it was at the body shop, I started thinking to myself, you know what would be pretty neat if I can build a budget 10-second car naturally aspirated. Now, a lot of guys out there are picking these cars up for a decent price, decent money. They're actually going for 25 to 24,000. This is a fully loaded, I am saying fully loaded, you name it, whatever options came in 2015, this thing has it. Has the heated and cooled seats, it has the bigger screen, stock brakes, stock everything. These wheels and tires are actually from my 2019. They're the Brembo with the Michelin 255 40s in the front, and I think 275 40s in the back. So anyway, what I wanted to do is I wanted to see if I could make this thing a budget 10-second car naturally aspirated. So what's it gonna take to do that? I started thinking to myself, what's it gonna take to make this car go 1090s, I mean 1099, without nitrous, without any kind of help? It's gonna need a bunch of things. Now, I'm gonna try to do it with the GT350 intake manifold. I'm gonna try to do it with the stock or GT350 throttle body and an aftermarket cold air, but I'm gonna do some funky stuff to shield it properly to see if I can get as much air in there as possible. If it requires getting a Cobra Jet intake manifold in the car, I'll do it. But what's it gonna take? And we've tuned many 10-second naturally aspirated Mustangs. The more popular one that we tune is Robert Ball's 10-second S550, stock motor, stock trans that has been in there since 2015, and he has run it for 4 years. Reliable as hell. He has a bunch of stuff done to it, Cobra Jet, badass converter, different rear end setup. What I want to do is run 1099 and not do crazy shit like the Houston gut. What's the Houston gut? Well, the Houston gut means take everything out of the car so it looks like a tin can. That's not what I want to do. No, you know, it's the easiest mod you can do, but at the end of the day, I don't want to gut this car. What I want to do is this. I'm going to slowly, step by step, run it at the track, see what it runs as it sits, give me a nice baseline, and then start modding it, putting it on the dyno to see the power difference, then take it back to the track. So this is the plan. Right now it has a factory exhaust, absolute bone stock factory exhaust. Long tubes are not something I want to go ahead and splurge for because it's $1,200 to $1,300. That budget to me doesn't come in mind when you start throwing thousands of dollars at it. And at the end of the day, I don't think long tubes make a massive difference naturally aspirated from a regular cat delete, or what I like to call a free flowing exhaust. So the next step is get it to the track. So I'm going to try to go tomorrow. Go to the track, get a couple of baseline runs, and hopefully this thing runs low 12 or high 11 on E85, stock converter, 315 gears, stock, everything else. The only mods are going to be the intake and E85 and the throttle body. Everything else is going to be bone stock in the car and injectors. Then I'm going to go ahead and install exhaust in it. I'm going to go ahead and get a free flowing exhaust that I got for cheap money because somebody was upgrading their exhaust. So I said, I'll take that. I'm going to install it in the car. It will be louder, but whatever. I want to see if there's a power difference or how much of a power difference you go from a stock exhaust this tune to a aftermarket free flowing exhaust, but not long tubes. I'm going to keep the manifolds in it. Then the next step is going to be going back to the track, and I'm going to do that slowly. This is going to be the naturally aspirated 10-second project because I was going to get rid of this car, but at the end of the day, why not have it make money for me on YouTube? A lot of you guys out there need or want or have asked what it takes to go fast in a car like this. Well, now that it's back to stock, why not, you know, start from scratch and show you guys what it takes to go 10 seconds. Boy, loud Harleys here. 10 seconds in a naturally aspirated setup. So that's going to be the plan for good old Jean Grey. Okay, no boost is going to go in this car, or at least initially until I go 1090s. It's going to stay stock. I'm going to try to do some lightweight mods. Like there's a bumper support here that's a little heavy. I might take that out. I might take some front bumper supports off, but I'm not going to take off anything drastic. I might do the seat stuff where you end up getting like a set of lightweight seats and maybe take the rear seats out and do a seat delete. But I'll probably at most take the seats out, put a lightweight race seat and a rear seat delete, and that's probably it. I'm not going to take the dash off, not going to take the airbags off, nothing like that. The car does have a AA K member still, okay? That's the other high dollar part that was on this car from its last, you know, its last life. Let's see if I can get a good shot of it. Oh, maybe not. Let's see. Where is it? It's in there somewhere. You can see it has a AA K member, tubular. So that's the other thing, but it still weighs. This car still weighs 3980 or 3970, something like that. It's still a very heavy car. So at the end of the day, it's no lightweight. So that's the next step for this car. This car is basically going to end up being a naturally aspirated project because I already have way too many boosted cars in my life. I have the 2019, I have the Fairmont. I now picked up a Maverick, which John Lunge Sr. ended up getting rid of. It was just yard art in his house, and he's like, hey man, you want this thing? My wife's gonna kill me, get it out of here. And I did. So hopefully you guys can follow this build as it goes along as a 10-second naturally aspirated budget build, because at the end of the day, not everyone's looking to go boost, and there isn't much more things that are as reliable as an all motor combination. So if I can work with certain people, get a rear end, maybe a converter, you know, try not to throw more than $5,000 at it, because that does sound like a lot of money, but you know, you can go through 5,000 real quick. And a lot of you say, why don't you just throw boost at it? You'll go 10s, hell, you'll go 9s potentially. Well, then I'm bypassing the budget part of it. So I'm gonna do it as cheap as possible, because honestly, when people buy a Mustang, they go cheap anyway. So why not go that route and see how quick we can go with a modern vehicle that's kind of on the heavy side on a budget. Thanks for listening, guys. Talk to you later.